Yo, what's happening, guys? It's GM Cody, and welcome back to part number 2 of our Dunderland War Imaginations campaign that me and my friend Andrew are playing. And tonight we have an after-action report for you. We have a naval encounter, a small encounter. So this was the first battle we played. Now, what happened is, if you watch the last video, my entire fleet ran into his entire fleet. To the biggest port city that he controls in Dunderland. I think it's called Middenheim. And we've never played Black Cells, this rule set that we're playing. So I decided it'd probably be better to come up with a reason why we're kind of split up the fleets and play with smaller forces, so we could actually learn the rules a little bit and get used to the game. Now, this battle still counted towards the campaign. So anything that happened in this battle, any ships that were damaged or anything, will still suffer that damage in the next battle. And what we're going to do is, in the next campaign turn, we're going to resolve a full-on naval engagement with both fleets going at each other. But I decided to do a little bit of a tutorial game for this battle. And basically what is going on here is my fleet was moving south towards his port. One of his armies and civilians and scouts and whatever, warned him that my fleet was coming, and he scrambled his fleet. And there was a storm the night before I got to the port of Middenheim, and our fleets were broken up because of the storm. And now all these ships are scattered everywhere, and they're trying to reunite and gather together the fleets again. And so this is late morning, and two flotillas run into each other and are trying to assemble back with their respective fleets. But they run into each other and have this little naval flotilla engagement here. So that's the scenario. That's what we're doing. And this is actually scenario number 1 out of the Black Cells book. If you have the Black Cells game, I think it's called Out of the Storm or Into the Storm or something. And I thought it would be a perfect way for both of us to get a grasp on the rules of Black Cells. Now, I did edit this footage a little bit, and I'm doing the commentary live over the edited footage. I didn't do such a great job of editing this footage. I'm not the greatest at editing videos. There's a reason why I do everything live. But hopefully it's good enough, and I'm trying to get better at editing things. And of course, doing this whole Dunderland War campaign, all these battle reports, is definitely going to help me with that. So anyways, without further ado, let's get into the battle report. I'm going to do live commentary over my edited footage here of the game. Again, we're playing in Tabletop Simulator, and this is a scripted module that a fan made for Black Cells, which is quite good. But I will say that the script was a little screwed up. I loaded it in a little wrong, so it kind of messed some things up in the script, and we had some things go wonky on us. But we worked through it and worked through the rules. But mainly the wind was it was way more random than it should have been in the actual rules. So next time we play, I'm going to make sure that everything's working properly before we actually get into playing this again. And I think I've found what the problem was, why the script loaded wonky. But anyways, so our forces consist of, basically, the Moravians have more ships in their fleet, but the Brautenheimers have slightly less ships, but they have 1 or 2 better ships, and they have a couple of their ships are more experienced. So Andrew's forces, the Moravians, have 3 fifth-rate frigates. I have a small third-rate ship of the line and a fifth-rate frigate. And everybody has inexperienced crews except for my third-rate ship of the line. So it's rather balanced because the scenario, you get victory points for every ship you get off the opposite side of the board edge. You get 2 victory points. Every point of damage you deal to an enemy ship, you get another victory point. So Andrew actually has a slight advantage if he can stay out of reach of my ships, stay out of range. Because right off the bat, he could just win the scenario and get 6 victory points, as opposed to me, I would only get 4. So really, his strategy, and he pretty much, it's pretty obvious that he was trying to be sneaky and just run off the board as quick as possible. And me, I was trying to do the same, but at the same time, I was trying to get in a position where I could actually get some shots in off of him. So I neglected to start recording the Moravian first turn, but they had already made their moves. Now initiative in black sails goes to the person that's closest to the direction of the wind blowing. The wind is blowing from to the west right now. I'm facing south. I'm coming in from the north, and he's coming in from the south. So he's closest to the wind. So all his ships actually activated first, and then this is my turn one after Andrew already moves. So, and I'll probably skip through a few things here, but that kind of gives you an idea what's going on. So here I am trying to move and get into, maneuver myself into position. My whole strategy, like I said, is, of course, get off the board, but I really wanted to get into position where I could get some shots off with my small third-rate ship. And I was pretty much not worried about the frigate getting any shots off. I was using the third rate to kind of cover the escape of the frigate and use my third rate to, take on the rest of Andrew's fleet here. Now what happened is in the next turn, the wind blew in my favor, so this is turn 2, and now my ships are actually activating first because the wind is now blowing in the opposite direction. Like I said, the wind was actually going really crazy in this game, which, I guess because it was stormy weather or whatever, maybe, but it was way more random than it should have been. It should not be this random according to the game rules. The script just got kind of messed up, but we just kind of went with it. And it did make for an interesting game regardless. So turn 2, I started off here, and now, I'll explain a little bit of the rules. So moving, it's pretty simple. This is not really a very difficult game. You have 4 different types of speed you can move at. Anchored, which is stopped. Light sails, battle sails, and full sails. So that's 1, 2, or 3 moves, and each ship moves a certain number of knots, which is inches they can move. And right now, both of us can only move battle sails. Now I'm going to pause right here. What I accidentally cut out the Moravians' next movement, but they actually moved up the next turn, and then the wind changed right in their face on turn 3. So I think I missed their turn 2. They did move up a little bit and tried to move, pointing a little bit away from me, trying to get out of range of the guns of my third rate. But on the beginning of turn 3, the wind changed again and went right in the face of the Moravian fleet. And so now what Andrew has to do is he's trying to tack out of the wind and maneuver his ships out of the wind. That's the only thing he could do. And if he fails, he's going to go anchored. He's in battle sails right now, and he's actually going to take sail damage because he cannot get out of the wind. You don't ever want to be facing directly into the wind in these Age of Sail type games. But that's what happened here. I just didn't edit this very well. But I think me and him were discussing what is happening. And what ended up happening here is none of his ships were able to tack out of the wind. And this is turn, I think that happened on, I think now we're on a different turn. And I ended up moving up a little bit. And I think this is the next turn, and I actually went first again and moved my ships up a little bit more. My third rate actually fired and was able to fire on his frigate down here on the end. And I did deal a little bit of damage, and that frigate also took some damage from going into the wind. And all his ships are kind of stuck in the mud right now. And the Brautenheim fleet is really getting the advantage right now because of the wind. The wind is a very crucial thing in these Age of Sail games, of course. So I think Andrew is trying to figure up his damage and everything. And I'm pretty sure at this point we're on turn 4, I believe. And I might skip ahead here just a little bit. We'll see what happens. Again, I didn't do the best editing this video, but I'm learning. Only way you get better is doing it. So, all right, I'm going to rewind just a little bit. So yeah, let's go to the next turn here. Okay, so next turn, what happens is the wind finally turns away from his ship, so now he's able to move. I think we're on turn 5. Now it is still in my favor, so I'm going to be able to move first. And I'm going to try to maneuver my third rate again to get in position and fire another shot at the frigate on the end here that's already taken a little bit of damage. And I'm definitely going to be able to do so. And I do think I cheated a little bit here just because I didn't realize how the module works. But I think on the last turn I shouldn't have been able to shoot at him. I was slightly out of range. But I just didn't know any better. I'm going to have to check it out next time. But I think I was doing it wrong. So here we go. I'm like trying to turn, get in position here. And you can make one turn after each movement basically. And now I'm actually in range. So technically I don't think I should have got a shot off on him on last turn, but I'm about to fire on him again here. Which this is pretty cool. It does like actual like firing effects. Then it'll actually roll all the dice for you. So this game actually uses 10-sided dice. And generally what you're looking for in the rules is a 5 or less to hit. And of course you add in modifiers for range and all that stuff. And every point you score 5 or under after modifiers, you deal a certain amount of damage. So heavy gun still 2 damage. Light gun still 1. And I think the carronade still 1 as well. I can't remember. And if you roll a 1, it is a critical hit, and that's what he's rolling right now is for his critical hit. And you can see the ship is already taking some mass damage, has a mass critical hit and a sail critical hit from the wind and the shots last turn, and now he's about to take another critical. And I don't know exactly what he a crew hit. He took a crew critical, so he's going to mark that on his ship here. So this frigate really took a beating all this game. And the wind was really the big factor in this game. Like this, and again, if the wind hadn't been so random, it would have worked out totally different. But the wind really worked in my favor, and it really shouldn't have, actually. But again, you know, it's just the way the script of this module was a little screwed up. So now Andrew is moving. I think this is his turn 5. And I don't know what's going on here exactly. I still have to move my frigate, of course. And I move my frigate. And now Andrew's able to move his ships, I believe. And I think I messed up on some editing here, so I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. So we already saw this part. Going to skip ahead. And now the Moravian fleet, this one frigate here on his next turn actually goes out of control because it took rudder damage. And it goes right in front. You roll randomly to see what direction the ship moves when it takes rudder damage, and went right in front of his other frigate, and his other frigate had to roll to avoid a collision with that frigate, and he successfully did so, and was able to move out of the way of the frigate that had a damaged rudder, and moved it right to the side of the other ship. And essentially, I think after this turn, we pretty much called the game because we were already so far off, and I was already moving off the board by the next turn. I'd already dealt enough damage. We just kind of called the game there. So I'm going to stop the video there, actually. So, this frigate moved out of the way. His ships were able to move up a little more. My ships were able to move off the board, and we called the game there. And it was a Brautenheim victory, actually. And as you can see, that poor frigate over there took some heavy damage, and it will count for the next game. I think probably what's going to happen is in the full battle, that ship, that frigate that the Moravians took a bunch of damage to is not going to be able to take part in the next battle. Is probably going to be the consequence of the next engagement. So anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this first battle report, this first after-action report. The small naval engagement, really it was just a tutorial game for me and Andrew to learn the rules of Black Sails, and hopefully I get better at editing these videos and whatever, but I think you guys get the gist. Let me know if you like what's going on here. Tomorrow we will be playing a land battle with the black powder rules, and it's going to be a bit of a siege, but also there's a relieving army coming to relieve the beleaguered besiegers or whatever in the fort. So that should be a pretty fun battle. Again, I'll record it and I'll do an after action report, and I will make sure to get that out sometime probably next week for you guys. So look forward to that. And then we will be moving on to turn 3 of the campaign and see how things go. It should be really interesting. So hope you guys have enjoyed this. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Let me know in the comments what you think. And we will see you next time. Peace.